creep alive by just delaying it a couple of tower hits there on Boom. So nicely done, and well, allowed them to keep that backdoor protection alive and well, or rather not alive and well, and the siege creep slowly hitting through onto that tower.
Yeah, well, with this laner Rex taken up now here from Boom, means they are able to put a little bit more pressure across the map here onto Geek Fam. Oh, they found out Raven. FBZ pump faked the Ravage, expecting Raven to be faster on the fingers, but fortunately doesn't catch it out. The Usurper comes forward here. Hour on the white one. They've caught out the Disruptor. The 4-staff comes in from Zephyr. They're keeping him alive for a little bit longer. FBZ pump faking the Ravage again. Another Static Storm. Kinetic Field combo from white one misses. That's so unfortunate here for the Disruptor. They come in with FBZ. They do pump fake the Ravage again. He's trying to find a good position to get it done, so they eventually take down the Disruptor. And now with the Sonic Wave down, no Static Storm. All they've got is the Roar here for Geek Fam. This is looking quite bad, but Boom, looking pretty strong walking into this tier 3 tower. They want to try and get another lane of racks.
And no glyph available either, so they have the Freedom just push in. Even the supports can stand a bit more aggressively in this team.
Okay, the Roar comes down. They're going to try and take down Dreamer Cell, but he gets that on Rage off. He still has Cheese and BKB in his back pocket, so he's okay with how that worked out here for Geek Fam, for Boom. So Makoto's going to walk in, try and get everybody back to full HP. Guku is going to try and do what he can. Fortunately, Zephyr falls himself back there with a few remnants, and the tier 3 tower eventually will go down with nothing left here for Geek Fam. There's not really much they can do. They don't have a BKB on Raven. They don't have Static Storm. They don't have Roar.
They're pinging FBZ. They want to make something happen onto him because they know that that's the thing that could potentially turn the team fight, this Ravage.
He's got no mana. Does use his 21 charge, and Dreamer Cell just jumps back in and takes down Zephyr. This looks like a death by 1,000 cuts here from Boom. They're tanking through everything that's coming their way. They're just slowly chipping away at these buildings. They found out Zephyr again. He does use that Remnant to get away from the Yule's arrow combo, but Boom, they're going to be able to clean themselves off. The second lane of racks, they're just going to walk away from this. They're okay with how this is going. And at this time, it just seems like Geek Fam are slowly just going to lose this game.
Yeah, there's some good team play coming out still from Geek. You know, getting some body blocks off with the Necro units, with the board that time around, making sure they're not going to lose Cuckoo as well. But lanes of racks gone, using their cooldowns to maximum efficiency. And how do you run into this? Even if, you know, you don't have the Death Pulse, you don't have the mechanism, the Voodoo Restoration's gone because of the mana. Surf has just got a Paladin Sword that he can just use to whack up onto a couple of creeps, and he's fine.
Oh, they found an FBZ here. You'll set to a Static Storm, kinetic combo. Doesn't hit anybody again. White one. I feel like that's 0 from 5 right now. It looks like Jerry Marcel, he's trying to aim for more here for Geek Fam. This looks like it was the last hurrah coming out from Geek Fam. The Raw comes down. Doesn't have the cheese. Does have his enrage coming in. The Ravage comes forward, but Raven had already BKBs that off. Rest of Boom is starting to get themselves in the bash. They've called out Cuckoo. They lose 3 again. And it looks like Boom are going to be able to walk themselves into the rest of these lanes of racks. Oh, no. Carl. He got stuck on the high ground. How does he get stuck on the high ground? He
spider legs himself up there just to try and get the TP off, but the vision and the arrow enough to make sure that he was a non-factor for that team fight.
That is very unfortunate there to have been called, and that's it. Boom are able to take the first game up against Geek Fam here. And that's a good start there for Boom, being able to come in and what felt like a little bit of an even game starting out here up against Boom, but I mean starting up against Geek Fam, but I mean they look pretty strong.
5 seconds remaining.
3, 2.
Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
G'day, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back here to the second game of the BTS Pro Series Southeast Asian Division Upper Bracket Final. You're joined by the two best guys from Australia, Fluke Dota 3, as well as Danog. I don't know why I said my Twitter tag, but I said it anyways, Matt. How you doing after that first game, buddy? Oh, hell yeah.
Into this second game's draft, and we can see Geek Fam. There's some respect bands coming out, realizing that Ursters just farms too damn quickly and is too damn good in team fights without all too many items.
All right, so I got my energy from Monster Energy. Shout out to our wonderful sponsor there for keeping us energized throughout the day here, Matt. You know, it energizes my brain a little bit, and now I'm thinking the same that Geek Fam is. Ursa is too good with Battle Fury. That hero just seems too strong.
Have you got the Galaxy Brain now? Is that the
I am Giga Brain. I am Giga Brain Fluke now. So many people that may know me, I am what we call a small brain. So me being Giga Brain now shows the power of Monster Energy.
Small and smooth, your brain is typically, but sense the wrinkles just starting to, come.
You can see them forming in real time as I'm drinking the Monster Energy and looking at this draft. But straight away, I see that Geek Fam is starting to take a little bit more time coming into this into the second draft, just trying to make sure that they really knuckle down on those first 4 bands. Because I feel like these first 4 bands are far more important than what they used to be, right? Because you only get 1 band going into the second phase. So if you forget about something, maybe there's some type of strat that you need to think about when it comes into these certain teams. And if you put that to the wayside, you come into the second phase, you've only got 1 band, you go, oh crap, we've not decided to get rid of this really strong combo or these really good heroes in the meta, and then you start to fall flat in the draft and you really start to run yourself into a few problems.
And it lets you eliminate a lot more strategies. We saw in the lower bracket a couple of days ago, one of the first elimination games was Team Adroit versus against Reality Rift. And Reality Rift took that one out in 2-1 fashion, and that's because every single game, they just took out every hero that could push or do things aggressively, and then if they could, they picked the remaining heroes themselves. So Adroit were kind of floundering as to, man, what heroes are left that we can kind of try and finish the game in 30, 35 minutes maximum. And it just didn't work out for them. Reality Rift, they did their scouting, they worked it out, and they did it to perfection. Granted, they ended up losing to Fnatic afterwards, but I think taking a scalp like Adroit is pretty decent for Reality Rift, and I think they'd be fairly happy with how they went.
Yeah, exactly. It is good to see a lot of these teams starting to take games, even series, off some of these bigger dogs in Southeast Asia. I feel like this region has really started to grow into this extremely close region, right? Like, it feels like a lot of these teams are really good when it comes to playing against each other, understanding how each other wants to play, and really starting to form a hierarchy, but a very close hierarchy in Southeast Asia. And once, international Dota starts coming back, I'd be really interested to see where Southeast Asia does fit in the hierarchy of global Dota.
Number one. Number one. Let's go. And again, just some more respect coming through from Geek Fam with the Witch Doctor coming out. Geek Fam, they had the priority going into game number 2, so they went for first pick for themselves. They just wanted to prioritize that Ember Spirit. They can play it on a whole lot of different heroes. I just don't think they didn't really have that key frontliner for their draft. I think that was the big issue for them. It just felt like every single team fight, they were slowly running in with a Beastmaster, and it took a little while for the follow-up to come through. And about it, here it comes out again, and it's a pretty good setup for that Mirana combo.
Yeah, it does feel like they're going to give themselves a little bit more options when it comes to Mirana combos this time around. There were a decent amount of options. He did pretty well using that Yule Scepter to the best of his ability, but now they have their own Beastmaster, so they can start putting a little bit more pressure when it comes to just straight out roaring somebody and then just go, all right, the arrow is going to follow up and this person is stunned for literally about 10 seconds. So
I'm liking the Conquer as well. Gives them a little bit of tank. I am a bit concerned, Boom, if Geek Fam are able to get away with a Spectre draft now, because Ember Spirit's one of those heroes that can disrupt aggression from a safe distance quite well. You don't even need to commit it onto a core to do so. You can just Searing Chains with the Sleight of Fist combination, and suddenly they can't attack for a couple of seconds. And you're probably going to be wanting to get some sort of chain initiation in onto the big carry that Geek Fam's going for. And then, of course, with the Cocoa Rum as well, that Kunkka's boat buff is able to give you, then how are you going to take down something tanky like a Spectre, which is something that you typically go into when you're going up against a ton of stuns, because you're still dealing out some passive damage and tanking up a lot of that stuff that normally would be an issue for position ones.
Yeah, exactly. It does allow you to play a little bit more on edge in these team fights. Like, it allows you to play a little bit harder in these team fights, right, with the Cocoa Rum, just being able to be that little bit extra tankier. So Geek Fam get rid of the Pangolier here. They don't want to have to deal with that Rolling Thunder going through these team fights. And boom, I'm just trying to think, what's another hero that they can combo with the Kunkka Rum, right? Like, is this going to be like a Geek Fam mid-Carl Kunkka, or is this like a support Kunkka? Like, where does Kunkka really fit in the current meta when it comes to these heroes?
It's heavily dependent on the draft, right? Like, if you need something that's going to be able to push out these lanes quite effectively, then you kind of need to go a bit more aggressive with a Kunkka. You need that right-click damage to be able to cleave up, the Beastmaster waves from a safe distance. But if you're just wanting for a bit of teamfight control, Zephyr can play the Kunkka. He does it fairly well. Let's see. Go with this one. Key instead of the Spectre. So I still feel like Specs are really good.
Yeah, it does feel like it allows them to pretty much just be like, she's going to get roared, and then we Cocoa Rum over the top of her, and she's going to survive, and then that will be basically it. Because Spectre is naturally tanky, putting the Cocoa Rum on top of her, and they've got good Chaos creators to utilize the space that a Spectre can give in team fights, right? I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, a Spectre creating space for others, but you think about it when you see like a Beastmaster and a Mirana, it's like, all right, that's what our combo is going towards. Our combo is going towards the Spectre. We're going to roar, we're going to arrow her every single team fight. But if you have other heroes in the draft for Geek Fam where they can really utilize the chaos that is created from one hero being constantly locked down, then they can really start to shine. And yeah, it might seem like Spectre is the end all and be all for most drafts, but if you put a little bit too much emphasis on her, then other heroes can really start to snowball that effect.
Yeah, even the Kunkka himself is pretty tanky. I think maybe something that they were a little worried about is that they didn't have that real lane securer, but Chen, he got a way to doing that. It gives you some counter push as well. It allows you to have a lot more move around the map. I think don't give enough appreciation to the fact that the Divine Favor just lets you have a mismatch scenario with not too much telegraphing, if that makes sense. Like, you can easily just TP your offlaner down to the bot lane. You've got a 3v2, you win the fight, you just TP straight back with your TP scroll. It's really impactful, and you can use it around those siege creep timings as well, just to make sure that you're able to take that early tower that you need as the Chen to start to come online and be that menace at around the 10-15 minute mark.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we were talking about this before, but the Spectre looks so juicy right now for Geek Fam. You have Chen Spectre lane, he gets a headdress, and she gets a Ring of Tarask, and she has like 20 HP regen at 4 minutes. Yeah. And you actually can't kill her. So
you can get a Ring of Tarask, you can get even just a Soul Ring, right? It gives a pretty decent regen too. He's all right, but at the end of the day, you can just run away from a Monkey King most of the time. I suppose they've got decent lockdown to prevent that. Some good slows as well on Boom's side. So again, it all comes down to the team fights. Neither team has insane push right now. So it's just about positioning. I think ward vision is going to be even more important, especially against a Monkey King. But you do have a slight edge in that with having the Beastmaster, and of course Tree Dance just giving you that extra vision as well.
Yeah, it really does feel like Boom right now are starting to win the vision war a little bit. As you said, Hawk, even Arrow to a certain extent is pretty good. So they're going to pick up the Venomancer here for Geek Fam. So I'd imagine that's going to be Cuckoo's hero, right? You're going to try and put that up against the Monkey King and really start to abuse that lane that the Monkey King has. Low armor. He is a melee hero. Obviously, he has a larger attack range, but really can't deal with the dot damage. Doesn't really want to man fight because you've got the negative regen coming out from Poison Sting. So I feel like that's just going to be Geek Fam just being like, we want to put this hero in this lane so this hero doesn't have a good time. Which is pretty much what they tried to do last game, but obviously Boom just seemed to outmaneuver them way too much.
I think it depends where this Monkey King's being run, though. It isn't necessarily a guarantee that it's going to be in that safe lane. It could be a mid laner. Do you want to have a... You never really want to run into a Venomancer, right? In the laning stage, just because with all of that minus regen, you're just going to get the worst part of any sort of trades. And then conversely, they've also got on their side the better part of any regen trades with the Chen, with the Divine Favor, just giving that little bit of extra value. TB as well, realizing that they have no real way to get in onto the backline against a hyper carry ranged hero like a TB with a Metamorphosis pop. So that is a little bit of a concern. You know, you don't want to have to run through a Kunkka. You don't have to run through some Plague Wards or Chen creeps or anything like that. So a little bit concerning for them.
Yeah, it is. We'll see what they decide to round out their draft here for Geek Fam. I'm still kind of leaning towards the Spectre. She might not have that fun of time up against a Monkey King, but I feel like you've got a lot of mitigation behind the Spectre right now. You've got a decent way to just kind of run into these towers with the Venomancer and the Kunkka and the Chen, just start pushing into these towers while the Spectre's on the other side of the map. And then even if your Spectre does get ganked 1v4, you're still going to put a lot of pressure on the other side, but they're going to go for the PA here. All right, okay.
It's a PA style hero, a Raven style hero. You can delete a Mirana and a Lich and even the Monkey King, honestly, if you get a little bit lucky with those crits. Being able to juke around a little bit isn't quite as effective, of course, just with that Hawk vision that you can potentially get at the start of team fights. So see how they go with it.
I'm very suspicious of PA. I don't want to say suspicious. I'm very dubious when I look at people picking PA with not something like a Magnus or basically just a Magnus. I feel like that hero is not standalone, that you have to put a lot of emphasis on empowering that hero, whether it be Bloodlust, Empower, anything that really just makes that hero turn into an absolute beast, because I feel like you can itemize quite decently at dealing with the hero, and you can also abuse her timings as well, because she's not really that scary at the early stages of the game, and, you know, once her BKB is down, or, you know, pre-BKB, she's not really that much of a scary hero, especially if you've got a lot of physical damage mitigation like the Frost Armor that they can have.
Regardless, though, I think I'm going to go with Geek Fam this time around. I think they've gone a bit less greedy. Yeah, we're still yet to see if this is going to be a cuckoo thing. So, but now with this lifestealer being picked up, it's kind of less of an ideal trade.
Yeah, but is Kunkka that much better for you to have? All right, okay. Well, Geek Fam answered my question, so I feel like, yeah, you could probably just go something like Phase Bracer into a Halberd, or, you know, Spirit Vessel. You probably don't need to get a Spirit Vessel. It's going to be a Carl Venomancer, okay.
I was expecting throughout the entire early stages that it might have been the case. They do like to run that in the mid lane. The thing that you need to be very careful of, and I want to be watching the mid lane quite closely, is Venomancer's base damage sucks. So even though you can get some good trades out early on and perhaps force out an extra regen, win the net worth battle in that way, if you're losing the experience battle, that's something where a Monkey King can really start to steamroll you.
Yeah. Especially if I've seen Monkey King players come out on top in a lot of different matchups, and it feels like he's also one of those heroes that can really start to snowball and abuse these unfavorable matchups. And as you said, if Carl doesn't get off to a good start here on the Venomancer, it can really start to fall behind, and that hero feels very, very lackluster without really good farm, being in a really, really good game for it. So I'm really going to be keeping my eye on Carl and Makoto and see who comes out on top, because Makoto came out on top in that first match. So we'll see who does come out when it does come towards that mid lane matchup, Matt.
Yeah. See, 4 out of 20 recent matches he was MVP. That's a little there for Carl, but in true Sea Dota fashion, we got to pause. Hype.
Lovely. I mean, we're used to Australian matches. We're used to Australian Dota 2, where you come into it and they are pausing at the start of literally every game. Like literally every game.
Probability of winning.
I think we had the most recent tournament that we did, Matt, I believe it was almost 100% of the time. That like we started a game and that was it. There was a pause straight away and just had to deal with it. Just had to get in and get over it, you know?
All right, we got a reconnect coming through here from Kezcute. So, based off the draft, what do you reckon? Do you think Boom are going to be able to take this one out 2-0, or will Geek Fam come back into it?
I'm not really that good at choosing who's going to win in a lot of these games, Danog, but I don't know. I'm such a PA hater. I'm a huge PA hater, so I would feel wrong with myself saying that Geek Fam was going to win this, but I really like Chen. So, I mean, I want to say I want to go to 3 games because I want to see these teams battle it out in a full 3-game series when it comes down to the wire going to the upper bracket, going into that grand final. So, I mean, I'm just going to have to follow the immortal Danog and go with Geek Fam on this one. I've been a contrarian before, and it tends to usually bite me in the butt. So this time, I'm just gonna deal with it, and we're gonna go with Danog and see how it goes.
Much planned for the weekend?
I'm actually going home to my hometown, which has a population of 300 people. I know a lot of you in Twitch chat are like, wow, how do you have internet? I moved away from that very tiny town, Twitch chat.
To a slightly larger town, but still not that big.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's slightly larger, a couple of more 1,000 people, but I mean, yeah, I'm going home, just chilling out, just going to go see some old friends and go pump some money into the local economy. What about you, Denon? What are you doing?
It is my birthday on Monday, so I'm doing a little bit of celebrating going on. I'm casting again tomorrow, actually, the grand finals and the losers bracket finals. Be a bit hype, but I've got a small break on Sunday. No, actually, no. I think I'm casting on Sunday as well. So Monday night is my break night. My actual birthday is my break day. So so casting for me now.
So you're not a birthday week person where you plan out your entire week where it's like I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm relaxing, I'm not going to work, all this and that. You're just more of a practical. I want to be doing stuff on my birthday.
I am a male, so I do not do those sorts of things.
Just happened.
True. Well, that's fair. Well, happy birthday for Monday. Hopefully we get some Phil's birthday mans in chat for you right now, Danog, because you're getting pretty old, mate. I know you're turning into a boomer soon, so you might want to check your receding hairline on Monday, mate. You might want to pull the fringe up a little bit and see, measure it, get the tape measure out. We'll see if the hairline's starting to go back a little bit because.
Well, I don't want to hear anything about looks from someone that looks like Sid from Toy Story. All right.
Oh, that's a burn that I don't think I'll ever get over. So, thanks, mate. I'm glad our friendship has now devolved into us likening each other to Disney characters. Toy Story, yeah.
All right, we're back into things. 10 seconds until these bounty runes spawn. Like a little bit more aggressive than it was last time around. It was just a 2-for-2 trade, simply. Like being the same, but encroach on the enemy territory on both sides of the map.
Yeah, so we go for the classic 2-for-2 trade here on the bounty runes. So both teams are going to be happy with how that does end up. I wonder how this lifestealer is going to deal in this game. I wonder how Dreamer Cell is going to overcome the fact that his position 1 versus position 1 matchup is not going to be all too strong for him. Whether or not he goes for like an early MKB or if he just tries to utilize the rest of his teammates to try and deal with the Phantom Assassin in these team fights.
And you can see the harass already starting to come out from Kezcute. He's following up onto Kuku, spamming out that Frost Blast as much as he can, getting maximum value out of his mana regen and already putting him out of lane a little bit.
Yeah, Kuku and Kezcute are going to have a little bit of a man mode fight here in the jungle. Just going to throw the auto attacks out, but Kezcute, as you said, come to lane with quite a lot of mana regen, so he wants to throw out those spells as quickly as he possibly can. And we see already Zephyr is starting to double up the wave here for Cuckoo, so he doesn't have to deal with the Lycia and the Lich for him.
I was about to say, is he about to triple up the wave with the mid lane? But no, he's tipping away, making sure it's all going to come at an appropriate time. The fact that Cuckoo's been able to still get half a level of XP during all this, I think he'd be pretty happy.
It basically almost will be a triple wave, because the next wave is going to spawn right about now. And it'll be just not too far behind here for Cuckoo. So he's got a decent amount of experience coming his way here. And Zephyr's just trying to do his best to try and make sure that Cuckoo comes out on top in this lane. But towards the mid lane here, we do have Carl going up against Makoto. Makoto starting to lose out a little bit here. It is level 3 already. He's got 2 levels in the Gale, so it seems like this is what Carl's going to try and go for. He's going to try and go for the Gale spam onto the MK, just so he can't come into the crit wave at all.
Some aggression here onto Hyde. He's obviously gone the Sacred Arrow to start off the game, but he's taken up a decent amount of harass here from Whiteman, who's already hit up onto his level 2. Will he career as well? No, not quite.
A little bit unfortunate there. He threw one auto attack, turned back around. Maybe if he stood out for the career kill, he would have gotten it. But I mean, that's okay. They're starting to put a lot of pressure on this offlane here for Boom. FBZ is really not getting all too much out of this lane. He's 6-2 up against Ravens 13-2. So this PA seems to be doing extremely fine in this top side.
Mid lane, we were talking about having to pay a little bit of attention to it. So far, Carl is winning out the CS war right now, slightly ahead of the Makoto Monkey King, but misses out on that range CS, at least not losing the experience for it.
Oh, Carl's getting stuck under the tower here. He's just trying to trade here with Makoto, and Makoto's just trying to do his best, but at this point he's just going to have constant dots on him, so there's no real good time for him to sit back and salve up. And even if he does salve up, he's going to try and do it now in the trees. He's going to come back in, he's going to cop another Gale, he's going to cop a couple of auto attacks, so Carl's just going to be able to... he does... No, actually, no, he did get hit by it as he jumped over the top, so Carl will be able to put that on top of him. He does have the Boundless Strike, but he's going to try and turn back around here. Oh, no, they do glyph the creeps. Makoto, he wants to try and get the Boundless Strike. He gets a lot of HP back from that. Now he's going to start going back in onto Carl. Doesn't have the boots to keep on top of him, and Hyde was able to take out Whitemon's career from the top side.
Great play from Makoto there, being able to pump fake the Boundless Strike, not wanting to get caught out with the... is he diving in onto Carl? He is.
He's going to try and do it with the Primal Spring here. He's got 1 stack, 2 stack, 3 stacks, 4. He's looking for the last auto attack, and he gets it done. And Makoto gets the first blood and the first kill there, and they do get a return on the bottom side. So they take out Kezcute, but the big one there is the fact that Makoto was able to get a solo kill onto Carl.
Well, that's going to bring things back a little bit more in his favor. He's now half a level ahead of this Venomancer. He's still got a few charges of the Jingu Mastery, but be able to get back fast enough to get the full regen off from it.
He's going to try. He does have a Boundless Strike. There's a full crit wave here as well. They throw out the Gale on top. Makoto's looking for another kill on Carl. The arrow comes forward from Hyde. They don't get it done. Finally, the Boundless Strike comes down, and with the Frost Blast on top, Kezcute cleans that one up. Zephyr gets himself a solo kill on Hyde. But Makoto, he's starting to streak forward here, and this is what I was talking about with this Venomancer versus the Monkey King. Sometimes MK just gets on top, dude. I don't understand this hero.
I mean, it takes ballsy plays like that, right? He used the tree dance twice to dive past him underneath a tower, and it's paid off for him. Granted, he got a little bit of help from the supports that time around, but the fact that Venomancer has to walk all the way back to lane, even pops a Smoke of Deceit for the extra movement speed.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for him. Cuckoo's going to start fighting here, Hyde, towards the T2 tower. Is Hyde going to throw the arrow? Ooh. Not unfortunate for him.
Zephyr's been able to farm himself up a decent amount of gold as well, sitting on 1,000 for himself. So we'll see what he opts to go for.
I'd imagine it's going to be the same build as what he did last time, right? Just going boots into the Spirit Vessel. Spirit Vessel is very good against Monkey King. Like, yeah, you do have a Venomancer, but I'd imagine your mid-Venom wants to try and go for something a little different, maybe a Halberd first here, but Makoto's going to start throwing those auto attacks. Zephyr and Hyde just doing the old pause for jiggle in the middle lane.
I think Veno's fine to go the Spirit Vessel, honestly. It gives him a lot of the survivability that he needs to live for a bit longer. It means that all of your minus regen is on one hero, so like Boom have to focus him down. Now, with especially it being that aura throughout the Spirit Vessel as well as the active, means that you just can't ignore him anymore.
Exactly. Well, we'll see what they do decide to go for him. We've got a decent amount of heroes towards this mid lane. Zephyr, they're going to try and fight over this regen rune. He did eventually get the click on it before the arrow came through, so nice for them. But both safe laners are like, okay, guys, you guys can all goof and gaff around in the middle lane. I'm just going to start hitting creeps here. And Raven, more than happy to do that. Same with Dreamercell on the bottom side. 48 and 11 against the 47 and 9. So both pretty similar in last hits here.
Yeah, doing quite well. It's going to be one of those games that it feels like it's pretty much the supporting cast for both of these carries. Zephyr might be getting caught out here, though.
Speaking of supporting cast, Zephyr is trying to waste a bit of time here from Boom, but he's going to take a lot of damage and probably lose his life as well. Zephyr doesn't have anything else to play around, and that will be another kill going the way of Boom.
Yeah, had the TP, but you just can't pop it when you've got that Sinister Gaze available with Keskute.
Yeah, that is true.
See a couple of stacks being formed up here by Whitemon here in the Dire jungle, but greatest potential to take it out just yet. You know, go on the Battle Fury on Raven, but he wants to leave them sitting in there in the jungle for that long.
Yeah, especially with somebody like Makoto, who's quite easily able to jump in there with that max out Primal Spring and come in and deal with those stacks very early on. So Dreamercell having to use the rage there to get the last auto attack on the T1 tower. So Boom already taking down that offlane tower is good enough for them. Doesn't really open up too much for them, but does mean that now the Ancients are a lot less secure here for Geek Fam.
Yeah, they don't have the greatest ancient taking lineup, so it's okay. Oh, I hear a Chen relocate starting to happen.
Yeah, so it looks like they were coming in with Zephyr to try and get the TP cancelled, but a nice arrow there onto Raven meant that he wasn't able to deal any more damage. I'd imagine FPZ probably would have been dead if Raven was able to sit there and auto attack for those extra couple of seconds.
Zephyr is doing a good job at keeping up this rune control. Doesn't want Makoto to be able to freely rotate like he's trying to now towards this top side, or even just farm on his own. That level 4 on Zephyr going to be handy. Maybe turn things around.
He's just getting a lot of information here, so they do know that Makoto is heading towards top side. They know that both supports here from Boomer on top side as well, so Raven goes, okay, boys and girls, I'm going to start heading back towards the jungle. He can throw out that blur as well, active, to just try and get on top of some of these creeps so he can start farming up these stacks that have been made here for Whitemon, or from Whitemon, I should say.
And it is a 1k gold lead right now for Boom, but it has to be taken into account that a tower is part of that, so the only big loss for them so far was that mid lane, sitting at about 1,200 gold behind at 9 minutes into the game. Isn't what you wanted as a Venomancer, but doesn't need all too much to become effective.
Well, it looks like Dreamercell now is just continuing to put the pressure here. Oh, it looks like they've found out Hyde. So take my off him for a minute, and then he gets himself taken down. It looks like he did take the outpost as well. So turning that back in the favor here for Geek Fam.
Lucking out a little bit here with Whitemon, picking up the Harpy Stormcrafter, so not quite as effective as if you can get it super early on, but still, it's never going to be a fun team fight or even laning stage if you've just got that constantly pestering you.
Yeah, it is good for cleaning out stacks as well. It's not all too bad.
Rotations start to come as well from Boom up towards this top side of the map. They want this outpost. They want to deny as much experience away from the Geek Fam lineup as they can, realizing that Venomancer, that's how he makes a lot of his teamfight effectiveness happen.
Well, they're going to have to try and get it done very, very quickly because it will be that 10-minute mark. They're going to come in on the sideline here, try and get rid of those boars, and they do get it done. Raven's sitting inside that blur, so can run away from his... Oh my god, that's a torrent, and that's a chains, and that's a dead Hyde.
It's just Hyde, though, at the end of the day. I think they're okay with that. They force the rotations through from Geek Fam to the top side of the map. It means that throughout all of that, Dreamercell's able to farm it. He's got that haste rune, and what can Carl do? He has to just TP back to the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, he's got a health pot in his inventory, so he's okay with that. So Dreamercell now, they really want to try and get rid of this tier 1 tower, especially before K gets to a position where he has that Spirit Vessel early on. And speaking of, it looks like Zephyr did go back for a Medallion of Courage, so he's going to try and get that Solar Crest as quickly as possible to try and limit the amount of damage that the Life Sealer and the Beastmaster can do.
Or even just enabling your PA even more, right?
True.
all that minus armor that's going to be coming out with this strategy. You don't quite have it as much with the hero abilities anymore, so you got to get it through items.
Yeah, so Zephyr's going to try and defend this this tier 1 tower. Dreamer Cell making some good rotations across the map. Do miss the torrent there onto the lifestealer. So Dreamer Cell is just going to cartwheel his way out of there. Or Homer Simpson spin, whatever you want to call it. The whoop whoop. I mean, Whitemon is walking at him pretty aggressively, but with the rage cooldown here, it means that lifestealer should be more than fine dealing with anything that's going to come his way. The only thing they really are going to have to stop that TP out later on will be the PA once she gets a basher.
Can probably lock out with a few creeps as well, right? Pick up a Dark Troll Summoner.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe. Does that still go through BKB?
Oh no, not anymore. Sorry, I thought you just meant in general. Oh, they found Kescute.
Yeah, they're looking for him here in the river. Frost Armor does a decent amount of work there, but if you're against 2 cores coming out here from Geek Fam, you're probably dead.
Yeah. And you can tell the way that Boom are wanting to play this. I think perhaps based on how that mid lane went favorably for the Monkey King, opting to go into this armlet build on the Lifestealer. A bit more aggressive, realizing that with the Venomancer hindered somewhat, you're able to take advantage of the early team fights a lot more effectively right now on Boom.
It looks like Dreamer Cells is going to move himself straight into a MKB as well.
Why not? Got your early team fight potential. You just want to be doing the damage right now because you've got plenty of farming capability with this Monkey King, especially once he hits up onto that level 20. You can just start primal springing waves out. Passing down Geek Fam a whole lot easier than a Lifestealer can.
But do you think both teams are just going to be sitting on the back foot for a little bit, just trying to get, Makoto an extra item, trying to get Dreamer Cell an extra item, or do you think one of these other teams is going to start pushing a little bit more? Maybe I'd be looking more towards maybe Geek Fam trying to put a little bit more pressure while PA farms out. He's getting closer and closer to that Battle Fury, so...
I don't think you can until you've got this Spirit Vessel at least on Carl. He needs to pick that up first, and then they can start making the movements to enable that extra minute or two that the PA might need. But at the rate he's going, they might even be picking it up at the same time anyway.
That's true. He's a couple hundred gold away from his own Spirit Vessel. They're going to try and defend their tier 2 tower top. I mean, this does give time to Zephyr to farm up on this Ember Spirit, so... I mean, it's not all doom and gloom for them having a slow game. I guess maybe Whitemon's the one that's not really feeling it all too much. He's starting to farm up a little bit here on the Chen, so both teams seem to be more than happy to sit back and farm for a little bit here. Dreamer Cell's the one that's getting found out, though.
Perhaps revealing some information about the ward vision that they've got available on Geek Fam. So you can't just be there unless you're something really tanky like this Lifestealer and able to rage TP away.
Yeah, that is true. Whitemon seems like he's going to try and do something with his triple centaur. He does have a Purge creep as well, so Purge Penitents trying to get themselves on top of the heroes with the triple centaur. Hide using the Moonlight.
Careful, Cuckoo's on the front lines as well. He's got a couple of braces, so he's fairly tanky.
Makoto, they do throw out the primals, the Boundless Strike as well as the arrow coming in, so Cuckoo eventually does use that boat, but it's just not enough. He doesn't keep himself alive, same with the Hand of God, so Boom pick up a freebie.
That's a long time to not have Hand of God. It's still 2.5 minutes available. It means that they can start pushing into you when really Raven should be spending his time farming up his BKB, but he might be caught out here.
Yeah, they do throw an arrow forward. Doesn't collect on any of the creeps or onto the Chen himself. So let's be careful. Kescute getting himself a nice little deep ward down. TP out as well. So it looks like Geek Fam, they're starting to fall behind a little bit. They are farming up, but at the same time, they're starting to lose net worth leads here and there. FBZ comes forward with the Raw, comes down. Spirit Vessel on top of the Beastmaster. So no heals for him. They're trying to get the triple centaur in for the cool triple stop, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get there in time. Eventually, no. It does lose its life, but Raven making his way over does get himself a kill. Cuckoo's looking for another one here with the X. Doesn't collect it, so Geek Fam get themselves an FBZ kill.
Slowly ticking down on Whitemon, and he's just going to straight die. That's a little bit greedy.
A little unfortunate there for Whitemon. Hyde's getting caught out. They have a Centaur stop coming out in a couple seconds, but Hyde loses his life not having any of those leaps available. Makoto almost caught out by a torrent.
Yeah, went for the blind one. Nice presence of mind to be able to dodge it. It probably wouldn't have made too much of a difference, but Wyman's still holding that buckler in his backpack instead of the seat. Losing out on a little bit of extra armor for himself.
SMH Raven. Cuckoo was trying to stack the Ancients for him with Torrent, and Raven jumped in there anyways. Carry players.
Can't with them. Can't win with them.
Can't with them, can't without them. That's the quote of the day right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think my Toy Story Sid one was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't give you the good ones, Matt, all right? I give you the ones where you make a mistake, okay? Because then it makes me feel better about myself.
Can't have that. I don't know if Carl's going to be able to do all too much here against Dreamer Cell. You know, he didn't even have to pop the Rage there with the Venomous Gale missing. And, well, did they even grab all of the neutral items that are available on both teams? They did, but we've got a new set coming out now. So Dreamer Cell could just try and stack it up a little bit. But again, oh, there we go. About to say the carry player mindset of just see creep, hit creep. He's going to be able to back off and probably.
Oh, they found someone bottom. Well, they found Zephyr, and he does go down. Carl tried to make a rotation towards that, but he was already dead.
Shawl coming out already. Not great. Well, these items. You can see as well here with Raven with his Battle Fury. Take out these camps a whole lot more faster, and his net worth should look to spike up a lot quickly than the rest of his team. He's picked up the Aquila for himself as well, so even in team fights, they're going to catch out here. White Money's walking past. He's got the Hand of God available, but I don't think he want to pop
he's just dead. He gets feared anyway, so he doesn't even get the Hand of God off. Makoto did dump the Wukongs for that, so it's okay.
It's okay, but at the end of the day, they got the mid tower anyway, so two objectives achieved, right? Slowing down the Chen pressure. I think he cleaned up one of the Chen creeps as well, and the tower, and that opens up Roshan, and they've also got the Medallion of Courage on this Beastmaster, so it should be dying relatively quickly.
MKB completely completed now for Dreamer Cell. Should get an Aegis into his own... Wait, did I just hear... Kezcute just chain frosted a set of creeps, right?
Sure.
Fair enough.
Why not?
Finally now, Dreamer Cell does get that open wounds out, so he can start healing himself up with the MKB. Proxy does a decent amount of damage. Geek fam, they're a little bit too late to the party here. They do throw out a torrent, but it doesn't matter because Dreamer Cell already has the Aegis in his pocket. Raven cleans up a tower as well. They're going to get the X marks torrent combo onto FBZ. They're trying to take him down, getting fairly tanky here, but on the backside, Raven's jumped into probably the worst situation that he could have gone in. Dreamer Cell trying to stick on top of him, but doesn't get any more lockdown. So with the Spirit Vessel back down here, they're starting to kite around the Life Sealer, and yeah, you might have Rage, but as soon as that's off cooldown, you have to be very, very careful. With the armor toggles coming back in, FBZ hits that buyback button again.
He went and died to a neutral creep, missing his armlet toggle. So, see ya, Aegis.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay. I don't know about that one.
I suppose you denied away from Raven, which is pretty important. Like, they can take this relatively quickly themselves, so it's not the worst, but you've certainly given up a big part of your advantage.
Yeah, especially because we saw in that last fight, Dreamer Cell, he doesn't want to use his rage in inopportune times just to get rid of these slows coming out from the Venomancer. So, you know, yeah, even though Carl didn't have the greatest of laning stages, he can still kite around this Life Sealer pretty handily.
And some aggressive movements coming out from Geek Fam, and it's going to work this time. They're going to grab both outposts for themselves, so some of that valuable experience away from Boom.
Oh, FBZ. They found him out again. He bought back for this, so he has to be very, very careful. Whitemon gets pushed himself over to the other side of the crystals. They're turning around onto the board, but the Moonlight Shadow, they keep FBZ safe for now. Zephyr's on the front line. Have to be careful. They have no Raw. Hyde coming back in. Oh, the board dodge there. There's a nice little play there from Whitemon. Keeping Zephyr alive for a little bit longer, but oh, he missed his Remnant, but he gets it down to the low ground now, so he's baiting a little bit more abilities. Zephyr's going to try and TP away to there. Where's stopping the TP? No. Looks like he gets himself away of Makoto inside of his Wukong's command. Dodges away from Carl as well as Cuckoo.
Real nice plays coming out there from Geek Fam. They got everything that they would have wanted, right? A couple of ultimates used. They got the outpost, they've got the experience, and lose nobody for it.
Yeah, exactly. We're coming out on top of that one. But Geek Fam still have a decent way to go. They are 4,000 gold behind. We have seen this meta time and time again. You start to fall behind indefinitely. But, you know, you have a PA on your team. This is where I'm not as much of a PA hater, where you get your 3 items or 4 items or whatever that hero needs, and you just start to delete people. But you have to be very, very careful with how you do play around not having a BKB. Your Scepter comes forward here from... He was halfway through a jump, I believe. Phantom Assassin, you're allowed to do that. You have an attack range. But they're looking for Dreamer Cell as well. Well, it looks like they're looking for Makoto on the backside, but Zephyr's the one that pays the price for it. Kezcute, very liberal with that chain force. That's a big torrent coming in onto 2 people. Makoto's got his own BKB. He's turning back around onto the rest of Geek Fam. Carl's going to lose his life first, and they're trying to get onto Whitemon. FBZ's just chasing away Cuckoo, so they're going to be able to catch out onto the Chen. Do their way of stopping the TP? They don't need it because they've got the damage, and they're looking for another one. FBZ, he roared Cuckoo, but Cuckoo took literally no damage.
He's got a Phantom +1 armor buff recently.
They're literally unkillable +1 armor. Thank you, Ice Frog. But now, this is what I'm talking about with this net worth. It does feel, I wouldn't say insurmountable, but these leads feel very strong when you have these leads early on. A Dreamer Cell starting to put a lot of pressure on this tier 2 tower. They've taken out another creep wave, and we see here, you know, Raven, yeah, he does blow up one hero, but as soon as these team fights actually start turning into team fights, you see Makoto as well as Dreamer Cell, how strong they actually are on these heroes.
But it's not like they expended nothing for it to happen, right? Like, Boom are going to get less strong as it goes on when this BKB timer starts to be used over and over again. So they've only used it once so far on... find out here with Hyde. He's infested as well.
Yeah, they're going to get on top of Whitemon here for Dreamer Cell, but it looks like that's a boat torrent combo going down onto the Mirana. So she blows up. They had to use the rage here for Dreamer Cell to get away. So the rest of Boom, they're going to go, all right, boys, it's time to back away, trying to reset. Let's see if we can get out on top of somebody else.
See here with Raven, he's wanting to team fight in this near future. He's gone the Vanguard first, realizing the strength coming up against this Monkey King as well as the Lifestealer, and he's going to be able to build into that Basher and eventually the Abyssal Blade as well. Later on, PA destroys the Lifestealer. There's really nothing you can do about it, which is why I was kind of questioning the fact that it did come out as Boom's last pick, but putting the strength in themselves to try and win this game before that becomes a reality, before the PA is going to start snowballing and be the difference maker in this game. Right now is the time to do it, still with a 3k net worth advantage when it looks to that mid lane and a 5k advantage overall.
It is true. Makoto sitting in the trees here, just trying to keep an eye onto Raven. I think maybe if Dreamer Cell can start hitting, you know, an extra item, maybe Makoto can follow shortly behind. They can try and deal with this Raven PA before she starts getting that BKB. As for now, as you said, moving towards that Abyssal Blade here for Raven, starting with the Vanguard, so he wants to try and get in and provide his own lockdown for his team.
It's not like an item is even absolutely necessary. He's found a double damage,
Carl?
and they've found Carl.
Yeah, Makoto, he's getting caught out here. He does get the poison over as well as the Gale out on top of him. The Spirit Vessel on top, he's taking a lot of damage. Kitty Rune here onto Dreamer Cell. He's
ticking down.
He's going to have to pop a BKB. He has to pop a BKB charge. So we're trying to catch a few more heroes coming into this. So the BKB used, and this is a disengage here. 5 heroes getting stacked up here. If the PA can get on top of this, could be a lot of cleave damage coming in. The torrent comes down, but it doesn't matter. FBZ turns around for the roar, but he dies before it. 80 seconds without a Beastmaster now because he bought back recently. Hyde's getting caught out with the X on top, and this is where PA is going to go to work. Raven has to be very, very careful not to get caught out here. Look at how much damage Dreamer Cell's doing. He's getting on top of Raven, and he's dead. The Hand of God came out way too late there from Whitemon. He's not having a good one today. Cuckoo's trying to get the damage onto Makoto, realizing there's no BKB for him. And Dreamer Cell getting the open wounds, getting the chase down. Those Monkey King procs are doing a lot of work there for the Lifestealer. Dreamer Cell is a big, strong man right now.
He is, and taking full advantage of that double damage. Could have gone much better for Geek Fam, but Cuckoo, I believe, was a little bit short on mana for the Ghost Ship when they were all pulled together in that one small place. Carl might even be going down here.
Oh, how close was that?
Nice cosplay, bro.
I actually, when I was casting with Toby, I did that and he cringed at me. So I was very tentative to try and do it again. But
you know I won't let you get away with these things.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, Toby, if you're out there listening to this, hopefully I did you proud on that one. But either way, Hyde, you get caught out by Zephyr. Makoto's looking for a return, though. Didn't find a tree close enough. Well, actually, he has found one now. Here comes the Primal Spring. Zephyr's getting very low on the mana front, very low on the HP front as well. So Makoto cleaning up a return kill there.
Just get the sense that they need to start taking a little bit over this. Kodo, they're playing aggressively. They realize that they need to start pushing into these towers. They've taken the top one, which is very important. Roshan could potentially respawn in 20 seconds. You get the sense that that's the next key timing that Boom are waiting for. You've also got, like we were talking about before, the level 20 coming up shortly on Makoto. So he's just going to be able to push out these waves so much more easily and pressure where you might not be expecting it.
Yeah, they are starting to look for Raven now. Makoto as well as Dreamer Cell. Got the two-man Uber. They're coming in. They're looking for Raven. See if they can catch him out. But wisely enough, Tip is away.
It's a lot of wasted time, though. This works out for Geek Fam.
Yeah, they have to be very, very careful to make sure that these next couple of team fights do start going in their way. I really feel like they need to start enabling Raven to just chomp through everybody. They need to make sure that this lifesteal is chunked down. They need to make sure that Makoto misuses a lot of his spells and abilities. So, you know, maybe Raven doesn't have to fight in the Wukong's command, because trying to fight a Monkey King inside of Wukong's command is 9 times out of 10 going to end up in your death.
Yes.
Oh,
200
Moonlight
gold.
Shadow and a smoke.
Really quick Roshan as well, but there's going to be a team fight before it.
They're going to come in here. They do throw out the boat as well. So trying FBC is getting on top of Kunkka. Now throw out the Roar, but he's caught between 3 heroes on the side of Geek Fam, and he's going to die. Dreamer Soul and Makoto trying to get rid of the backlines. They're trying to get rid of the rest of Geek Fam here, but they can't get on top of these heroes. X-Mark comes in on Makoto, using that BKB, stops himself for now. Nice balance strike, keeping a few heroes at bay, but this BKB is going to start to wear off. Yeah, you might have an Assault Cuirass, but I don't think it really matters. They're going to come in. Can they focus down the Monkey King? No, he can't. He's turning around. He's killing everybody. It looks like Dreamer Cell trying to get on this front side, get rid of some of these heroes, but Raven, he's jumped in. He's jumped into the rest of Boom ID. Can they get rid of him? No, they can't. The 4 stars keeps him alive, and this is where Dreamer Cell starts to run into a few issues. He's getting kited around the 4 stars as well as the Venomancer is doing a lot of work. Raven chunks down another, and they get rid of 4. I thought maybe Makoto was able to stand and fight, and they've called out Kezcute as well. Nice healer getting brought back here with the X marks the spot from Cuckoo. They're going to try and get on top of him. They found him out with the Torrent and the Syrian Chains. And that's 5-0 there. Geek Fam, that was the team fight that they really needed.
I mean, normally I would agree with you with being able to stand and fight as this Monkey King, but they've taken the fights well enough on Geek Fam that they can just say, look, you know what? We're able to just sit back a little bit. We want to make sure that you use those BKBs. It was down to 8 seconds. Now it's sitting at 7. And it wasn't even Raven that did the majority of the damage. It was just that prolonged team fight and having the Venomancer, having the Aura with the Chen, really effective. And then, of course, the Coco Rum doing a lot of work as well for this Kunkka. So things are starting to go more and more in Geek Fam's favor. And if you have a look at the win probability, it's taken a sharp dive towards the dire side.
Am I a win probability user? I am. I've figured it out. I'm a Dota Plus user now, Matt. I remember you scolded me last time.
Your offering has been accepted.
I mean, my battle pass is almost like... I can't even remember what it was. I think it was like 400 last time I checked. I had to get that Red King Arcana, so I was just like, Gabe, and take my money until I have it. But yeah, you just see that win probability start to dip down here for Boom. Couple of team fights, and this is pre-BKB for Raven. He seems to be playing these fights really well, and I think the biggest concern here from Boom is every single time Makoto is going to have to use that BKB at an inopportune time. You know, he gets Galed, he gets Poison Stung, and then he gets a Spirit Vessel on top of him. Even if he gets away from it, he's going to lose a lot of his HP for it. So you either have to try and commit straight away with the BKB, turn back around, try and get rid of Geek Fam at the start of these fights, or just try and completely reset and try and get Makoto into a good position where he can get on top of Carl with a Primal Spring and BKB. But for now, if Makoto keeps I wouldn't say misusing his BKB, but using his BKB at inopportune times and then not having it for a proper fight, that's when it's going to start looking real bad here for Boom, because they're going to start getting on a timer where Raven's PA is going to have BKB, Abyssal, Battle Fury, and Deso, and she's going to clean up everybody.
Boom, though, they're reaching a little mini timing for themselves too. You've just picked up a telescope on our Mirana, so that's going to be really handy both for getting the Yule Scepter off on a couple of these heroes, as well as it enables the Lich, who's got the Keen Optic backpacked with that telescope aura, providing a lot of benefits there, and even just the Ghost Scepter.
They're looking for
Again.
something here. Oh, that's a big arrow that hits on a Carl, so that's 5 seconds for him. So might give Makoto the space that he needs to get away without having to use his BKB. But he's going to try and stand and fight. The BKB has been used. Raven turns back around, jumps in a little bit too early there. Does have the Aegis of the Immortal on the PA, so Makoto using that BKB, they want to get away. Oh, Kez Kid, he's probably going to be the sacrifice. Yep. Abyssal sacrifice there from Raven. He'll take that one.
It's the power of that PA. You just don't want to give him time, and against a lifestealer, it does so much.
That is true. As you were saying a little bit earlier on, the lifestealer is really not going to have many avenues to deal with this Phantom Assassin. You know, Dreamer Cell, he's got items to try and man fight the PA, but you have to be careful of the Cocoa Rum, the Hand of God, everything else that comes not just behind the PA.
They even just went for a kill onto Zephyr, and he's able to remnant out. Missing the timing on the Mirana arrow means that, well, all this threat being pushed onto this tier 2 tower, and they can't do anything about it. Just take all the outer towers, why not? The creeps are probably going to be able to do it on their own on this bottom side, to be honest.
It always feels bad when you try and go for those value trades. You know, you're like, oh, we're probably going to lose a tower, but let's try and get something else done on the other side of the map, and then it just goes wrong, and you're like, well, this is where it starts feeling bad for us. Raven's the one that's going to TP back by himself. Maybe if Makoto stays up towards the top side here, they can try and burn an Aegis for them.
Ooh, that was close.
Raven knew.
Cuts the tree. Yeah, he knew.
So either way, now this is where it starts getting a little slower. Oh, okay. Whitemon just died. Desolator AC with a lifestealer and a Monkey King on your head, you're probably going to die all the time, Chen.
All right. So what other key timings are coming out? Level 20 on Veno would be handy. Just the... Oh, he had his E-Blade queued up on this Veno for a little bit of time, and he's changed that into a Shiva's. Like, just the Ghost Scepter would be pretty handy for him. Well, they miss onto the Makoto.
Oh, that's not a good start here, Carl. Gonna try and come back in, though. So much kiteability here for the side of Geek Fam means that Makoto, he has to be so perfect with his BKB uses in these next couple of fights. Raven, though.
Raven.
He's going to get found. All right. He found out Hyde there. I thought it was going to be the other way around. Oh, Dreamer Cell, he got bashed as well from the dagger. He's going to turn back around and fight onto Raven, who gets roared up. Look at how much damage he's doing. Yeah, Hand of God does a decent amount of work. Another 4-star kiting around these melee heroes.
It's fine. He's got
So
Aegis.
for now, boom, they're going to have to turn back around. And as you said, oh, it's a big work on this command. Can they get the boundless strike? Makoto still doesn't use that BKB, so he still has that to play around with on the backside. In comes the boat, doing a lot of work here. Dreamer Cell coming in, taking down Zephyr. Raven, he's turned back around, but no, the BKB here from Makoto, turning in and fighting. Gets a lot of HP back from the last dealer jumping inside of him. They lose the first life there. Cuckoo have to use the cheese to turn back around. Another set of 4 stars come out here, kiting around these melee heroes for a little bit longer. Raven standing and fight. The Abyssal Blade takes down Makoto, and he's looking for Dreamer Cell next. Disarm comes from the halberd as well. Raven has to jump himself back onto Cuckoo, and they do lose Carl on the backside of that as well. Carl eventually does take down FBZ with the dot damage. So Dreamer Cell as well as Kezcute. Oh, that doesn't see him. He's standing in the trees. Dreamer Cell just TP. All right, Rage TP's out. So they get rid of the Aegis. They get rid of Carl. They lose Makoto. Does that feel even for you? I mean, the net worth is certainly starting to dip the way of Geek Fam here.
Yeah,
Seems
absolutely.
like that was a huge net worth gain there for Raven.
I mean, yeah, 2 deaths for 3 plus a buyback. Always going to be handy to be able to get that sort of exchange. Aegis was gone in 10 seconds anyway, so Raven giving up a death for that is totally fine. Well, just picking up more and more of these items that are going to enable them to snowball. Got coming up next. I mean, I feel like the Abyssal Blade on Dreamer Cell is the one thing that can potentially bring them back into this. With the stun up there, you do have the potential to burst out this PA that doesn't quite have a BKB yet for herself. I think that needs to be the next big item for him. And, well, that double damage. Good luck, Hyde, if you get caught out here. He's stayed in the trees,
hide, buddy.
scared for his life. Hyde needs to hide.
Hyde needs to jump in the trees here. He does get away, so Raven doesn't find a new victim with this double damage rune. Satanic has been built up here for the Phantom Assassin, so he's got a decent amount of status of this going his way, and even if he does get caught out, they do have that massive amount of lifesteal for him to play around with. And I think it's going to start to get to the point where Cuckoo is going to be unkillable. We saw Dreamercell do a decent amount of work there, but at the same time, they had to focus Raven at the start of these fights because otherwise he's just going to clean up everybody else. But they spend so much time trying to kill the PA that they can't deal with anybody else here for Geek Fam. Oh, Zephyr going to come forward, misses the slight searing chains combo on to hide. Oh, the torrent. It's there.
Solar Crest acquired as well here on Zephyr. The items. None of these little value ones. He's like, I am a big boy. I need my big boy items.
Just gets the arcade. I mean, this 4-staff has paid for itself a million times over. They've got a 4-staff on Whitemon as well, and both these supports are really just understanding the fact that, oh, okay, he just gets taken out. They do get the wall from FBZ on the sideline, but he gets boat and torrented, so he's going to die. Oh, they do get the Ghost Scepter out, but they're going to be able to stop the TP?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, the Syrian Chains are just on cooldown. Fortunate there for Zephyr.
They did have the poker rum, so Boom were like, well, we really just don't want to take this fight right now.
And they do start to push in this mid lane as well. They're going to look for the tier 2 tower on the top side. Raven is pretty much hit critical mass. He's going to go for a Skadi. He's also not even feeling like he needs the BKB.
I guess liking this from Makoto, though. He's going into the Halberd, realizing, well, it's great to have that extra little bit of status resistance. Plus, you don't have this BKB available on Raven. What you can do to stop that disable coming through, disarm. I suppose he's got the Satanic and the Titan Sliver that's going to make it last not quite as long, but still, when it's a hero like the PA that can just two-shot heroes on your team, that extra split second that you need to maybe get Hyde away so that he can get a couple of abilities off can be the difference maker.
That is true. They've picked up a Prince's Knife as well here, so even if the Phantom Assassin wanted to pick that up, that might be a little good increase in lockdown there for Geek Fam. But sticking with the Titan Sliver for now, and Boom, trying to farm up a few more of their own neutral items. It has hit that time when the neutral items do start to tick over, so they want to try and get that next set, so for the next team fight they are as strong as they could possibly be.
Is up in 5 seconds. You can see that Geek Fam, they're trying to play around it. Wisely actually gets rid of this Hawk, so I'm going to have the vision around the pit just for now.
Oh, FBZ. He got hit there with the Princess Knife. They're going to turn back around. You get the roll onto Whitemon, so there's no Hand of God for them in this fight. Dreamercell is going to try and come forward. They still haven't used the BKB. They want to try and get as much damage done as they possibly can without having to pop all these cooldowns. Makoto trying to stick on top of Cuckoo here, jumps himself into the trees, 4-staffs up to the high ground. So they get away from the Monkey King. So Boom. They do blow up Whitemon, but they're trying to look for more as well. Geek Fam going to try and come in. This fight, it's a big torrent coming in there. They want to try and get onto Roche, but Dreamercell is about half HP. You really don't want to go into a fight like that without being full HP and having all your cooldowns.
Just through the passive gold as well, Chen did have the capability to buy back towards the end of that engagement, but able to hold on to it. Some real value coming through there. He can't be the first person that walks up. Like, what do you really need this Chen to be at the front of the team fight for? Nothing, right? It's not like he's got a Yules. It's not like he's got anything. He's got a 4-staff to save himself, and you can see now he's building into a Glimmer Cape, but he needs to stop putting himself in such precarious positions.
He's got the Shaco now, though.
Ooh.
He can use, like, Hand of God and 2 abilities. That's how little mana he actually has now on Whitemon, so... Expecting a Roche fight here is Geek Fam. They walk into it themselves. There is a Courier as well as a Hawk spotting this out.
PA's 25 as well.
They're going to come in. They do get rid of that Hawk. A big arrow comes down onto Zephyr as well.
Missiles infested in Makoto.
Going to see if they can get themselves into a good position here. If Makoto can get on the trees towards the Roche pit, could be a good fight for them. Raven's doing a lot of damage here to Roche, and this is an Ag's Blessing as well.
They're wanting to go for the steal. Both carries.
They're trying on the back, but no, they get rid of the tree. Makoto, he's done. He's stunned. He's dead. They get rid of Makoto on the backside, and Dreamercell's the next one on the list. He does abyssal himself up to Whitemon, but it doesn't matter because Raven's killing everyone. He's taken down 2. He's looking for a third one on the side. FBZ getting the TP away with the Ghost Scepter. So they lose their Monkey King and their Lich. Zephyr's looking for another one. Actually, no, he just wants a bounty rune. So Hyde with that Ghost Scepter gets himself away for a little bit longer. They're going to try and keep on top of this Morana. Eventually, Raven takes down the Roche and he gets the Aegis, he gets the cheese, and I'd imagine who's got the Ag's Blessing for this one. Probably just going to give it to the Veno.
Stage. Yeah, pretty handy on the Veno, you'd say. Picks it up.
Yep, so Veno's got the Ag's Blessing now. They've got cheese coming out as well, and Makoto, man, he tried, but the remnant break of the tree there from Zephyr, huge play, massive stun coming onto the monkey. He didn't even get a single ability off. Didn't get BKB, he didn't get nothing out. And unfortunately for him, that meant that he died extremely fast, and then Raven just tearing everybody to bits. So looks like Boom now. They're going to try and defend for a little bit longer. The PA jumps a little bit too far into the base, but she's so tanky. Almost 4,000 health and an Aegis. I don't think you're killing Raven twice, let alone once.
And a cheese. And a satanic.
Yeah, she's good. And a Minotaur horn. So free stun getting rid of. Just drops the cheese on the ground.
Anymore, that's for sure. They've given the cheese over to Cuckoo, so just wanting him to perhaps be a bit more of a front liner, make Raven the one that's going to be taking down these racks.
Well, we're going to try and get something done here. Smoke as well as the Moonlight Shadow. Oh, they're trying to break the tree. Zephyr almost gets himself another Monkey King stun. So they've taken down 2 lanes of racks here. Raven, he's still looking for more. They still have a tier 2 tower on the top half, so they really can't get much else done. And right now, Geek Fam, they want to try and stay inside of the base, but they realize they can't get Megas just yet. They can't complete the game. So they're going to be like, all right, boys and girls, let's go to get the tier 2 tower. Let's get this done.
It's fine. Waves pushing in. They've already taken 2 lanes. They're in control. You don't need to make a risky play. Whereas, just like what happened around the Roche pit, Boom realized how far behind they were. They needed to try and make a huge bring themselves back into it with this PA getting out of control. And they're needing to do it again. FBZ, he's on the front lines trying to get Cuckoo.
Oh, they're trying to find something out of this, but it looks like the Halberd coming in onto the life stealer. So Dreamcell and Makoto getting into the backside. They've got 4 heroes kind of grouped up here, but there's so much kite coming out here from Geek Fam as well. Raven on the backside, he's getting caught out, getting roared as well. So he's stunned up on the high ground here. Boom. They're trying to get much done on the bottom side, but Raven, he's doing a lot of work. He's getting stunned up quite a lot, but this massive amount of status of this is doing a lot of work for him. Oh, Makoto gets half his HP chunk down. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you get the boundless strike down because you're just going to go down. He's dead for 100 seconds. So they lost their life. They've lost their Monkey King, and they're just going to call GG here. So, boom. They're going to lose the second game, and Geek Fam coming out on top with this Raven Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, it was always the inevitability, and I'm glad that you listened to my tips there, Luke, for who to go for in that game based on the draft, as it was Geek Fam evening it up 1-1. Go on to a deciding game.
5 seconds remaining. Radiant team banned.
G'day, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, Twitch chatters and Twitch memers. It is Fluke, joined again by Danog here for the third game of the BTS Pro Series Southeast Asia Upper Bracket Final. Winner of this goes into the grand final. Loser drops down to the winner of Fnatic versus Neon Esports a little bit later on in the day. But Matt, Geek Fam, they proved me wrong as a PA hater. And I'm feeling strong for this third one. I feel like Geek Fam, they understand how they need to play now up against Boom, and they might be able to take it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at the win probability graph and experience and everything else, it was looking really strong until, what was even the tipping point? I feel like it was right after the PA got the Abyssal Blade, perhaps, and then it just went straight down in Geek Fam's favor. There was nothing that they could do. Suddenly you're wasting a couple of seconds of your BKB timing. And it just felt like an inevitability after team fights started going Geek Fam's way. So we'll see what they choose to pick and ban out this time around. Boom won the coin flip this time and opted to pick first. And Geek Fam actually chose the Radiant side, which means that perhaps they're going for something that's a bit more farm oriented again. You know, they want to have that ancient control. They want something that's going to build into a Battle Fury. And I think it's very wise that they've gotten rid of this Ursa, because it's the sort of hero that Boom, I think, would first pick if given the option.
That is true. Well, they get rid of it now, so Geek Fam seems like they're sticking to their guns from what they did in that second match where they were able to pull out the W. So we'll see how it turns out here for Geek Fam and Boom, whether or not Boom are going to stick to the same guns of picking this. What do they open with? The Marana and... No, that's Geek Fan that's been picking the Ember. What? It was Marana +1.
Beastmaster?
Beastmaster, that was it. I felt like FBZ really didn't have that much crazy impact on the Beastmaster. Yeah, the Hawks are obviously good for vision, but it really didn't feel like they were able to combine that raw and arrow combo. So I don't know. Maybe FBZ needs to go back to a little bit of something different.
They're getting some good success out of this Ember Spirit throughout the day, so go back to it again. It's just that versatility. You don't want to be opening up with something that's all too obvious about where it wants to go. I feel like with Boom, though, it's much more oriented towards a core and the support role.
10 seconds remain.
Yeah, it is true. We'll see if they want to go for like the classic Coddle Ember Spirit to try and really abuse this core Ember Spirit, or whether or not they're going to do what Geek Fan have been doing and just running it as a 4 with Zephyr and just trying to get like Spirit Vessel, Arcane Boots, 4 stuff and just try and run around the map, be really annoying. But Geek Fan, they respond with the Queen of Pain here, so a hero that is in the same vein as Ember Spirit, where they can flexy to whatever role they would like to, and are very, very strong core roles as well. So I would like to see a mid Queen of Pain. I really enjoy watching that hero come out of mid. Yeah, Cuckoo did decently well on the Queen of Pain in that first match, but I want to see a little bit more from this Queen of Pain. I want to see why this hero feels so broken and so strong in a lot of these games.
I want to see them pick the POS 5 right now. I want to see something like a Bane come out from Geek Fam. Just something that's going to win the lane. It's good lockdown if they do choose to put this Ember Spirit into a core role. The Fiend's Grip is fantastic for being able to deal with it. Ogre Magi is fine as well. You can stick him in on the front lines, and it does lean perhaps a bit more into that style where they want to go this hyper carry. They've got the ancient control by being the Dire, so they're going to put a lot more pressure onto that bottom tier 1 tower, and then the Bloodlust is just going to enable their core a whole lot more. So it's just a question of what one are they going to pick up. Maybe it's going to be something like the PA again. Maybe it's going to be a Luna, but you obviously don't want those Eclipse beams being tanked up by all these Chen creeps.
Yeah, I don't think you really... I mean, Luna's still pretty good at dealing with the Chen creeps, right? Because of the bouncing glaives. Like, moon glaives are decent well, but as you said, if you pulp out that Eclipse, there's a bit of a feels bad, man, when you see 3 of these Chen creeps soaking up 90% of the beams. You're like, well, it was a bit of a waste, but we'll see what they want to go for. I like seeing heroes like Juggernaut and stuff like that with the Ogre Magi. I feel like that would be fairly strong against something like a Chen. I guess it's kind of in the same vein as the as
not
the
against
Luna,
the
right?
Chen, not against the Ember Spirit. Roll could be okay. Lockdown was through, but I think they're waiting until the last pick of the draft for whatever Raven's hero is. It's just one of those things where, again, they've got the last pick the entire time. I think they're very happy with how the draft has gone so far. They've got their support buffer, basically, and Queen of Pain just a solid hero in 3 different roles that it can potentially go for.
Yeah, that is true. You can run this ogre pretty much wherever. Same with the queen. So we'll see how they want to switch it up here. So the Slark being coming out from Boom. So that leads me to think that FPZ is going to be picking something like Tide or Underlord, or what's another hero that really gets beaten by Slark? Pretty much any melee offlaner, but it really does feel like that they're trying to utilize FBZ to have something like the Tide Hunter or like the Underlord up in this safe lane where he can pretty much just be on the front line and tank everything, and it doesn't matter if he doesn't really get all too many spells off, because that's how they won the first game. And it was kind of the same vein in the second one where FBZ was getting a lot of spells dumped on his head, but he's a Beastmaster. He needs to stay alive for that aura. He needs to stay alive for the raw and to use the balls as well. So maybe they're just moving into more of the Tide Hunter and the Underlords of the world.
It could be that, but I also feel like we're missing a hero that's been banned out a fair amount in the Bat Rider, and there it is, coming through. So I was thinking that Boom might have picked it up for themselves, just because with the Slark, obviously, if you're quick enough with the fingers, suddenly that lasso isn't all that impactful with Dark Pact. It is one of those heroes as well that they've got a really high win rate on, but not going to be this time around, at least for them. It puts a whole lot more pressure on the Boom side of the map as well to perhaps go a support that's able to push out waves a bit more strongly than the Chen, because Chen's going to be roaming around, backing up the carries a little bit more whilst trying to stay out of experience range. So we'll see what they're able to do. I do think they need to go a little bit greedy now on the Boom support, or it could just be a hide Ember Spirit, which is the definition of a greedy support, but we'll see how they opt to go.
I mean, yeah, I could certainly see them moving in towards something like that, even if they want to go for the Mirana again and make a build a little greedier. Yulsep is not really all too greedy for the Mirana, but I can understand not being able to super greed out on something like a Mirana, because you don't need to sit and farm out. What about something like an Enigma? I guess you kind of still have to deal with the Bat Rider with the lasso to break the BKB black hole, so...
Is a concern, and yeah, I was about to say they need a basic dispel. They got rid of the PL already, so you can't just pick this carry that's going to be able to use Doppelganger to get rid of the sticky napalm. And that also leads me to believe that they're going to go for a bit of a lane swap here. They want to make sure that the Legion Commander is going into this Bat Rider so that when the musical chairs happen, they're not at a disadvantage of being the one to TP first. Having picked the Chen as well means the Oracle's kind of out of the equation. Abaddon, also a possibility, but I think with a Legion Commander, it's good against the Bat Rider, as well as the Queen of Pain, just for that additional layer of lockdown.
Yeah, I think that's probably what would have pushed them over for the Legion Commander, just being able to lock down the Queen of Pain and deal with her very easily. The Pangolier has been a response here from Geek Fam, so I don't know who's going where.
I'm going to say it is a Cuckoo Bat Rider, a mid Queen of Pain, and a position 4 Pangolier.
All right. That sounds fun.
A mid Bat, actually. Possible.
That is true.
They are going for this tempo style, right? Like you need to get the experience early on. You need to get that early Boots of Travels, that early level 7. And, you're really going to lane a Legion Commander into a Bat Rider all that easily. If it is going into the mid, it feels like it suffocates a lot of what Boom's trying to do, and you'll just be able to create a lot of that space by having the, again, just to go back to the hyper carry that I feel like Geek Fam are going to try and do with this last pick of the draft.
Ooh.
Something a little different.
Lone Druid is a hero that really does feel like it's extremely strong especially if you pick it this late in the draft. I feel like Boom have a good idea of how they want to play it. This is, I'd imagine, going to be the Bat Rider lane matchup. It's not all too bad for the Lone Druid, right? Because you have to deal with the bear the entire time, and the Bat Rider really can't abuse the bear as much as he can abuse some other carries. So I really like this as kind of a self-sustaining position 1, because as you were saying with the Chen, most of the time you kind of want to leave them to their own devices as a Chen. You give them a little bit in the early game, you get a couple levels, and you go do Chen things a little bit later on in the jungle. So I really like this Lone Druid pick up here from Boom. It does allow them to kind of have a hero that they can just constantly buff up. The Legion Commander can always sit behind the Lone Druid. If the bear ever gets lassoed, the bear ever gets dealt with in whatever way, they can always press the attack it. Same with the Ember Spirit. He can just sit in the back and cause, chaos for the Lone Druid to just throw that bear into good positions for them. So I really like this pick up here from Boom, but I feel like Geek need to have a decent response for their own, as you were saying, a kind of hyper carry that can deal with this Lone Druid, or at least match up well with the Lone Druid.
Honestly, PA's not the worst. Again, pretty good against the Lone Druid. I guess you're kind of screwed if you get rooted up, but I don't mind the PA once more coming out for Geek Fam. It worked for them this time around, and again, they've got the space to enable Raven to carry the game.
Yeah, that is true. They don't have the big damage mitigations like they had in the last one with the Conquer, so you might be a little bit more wearisome. I do feel like PA could be quite good for them. I feel like Ember Spirit, obviously until a certain point in the game, deals with her quite well, has a lot of magic damage to deal with her, but once she starts getting a little bit higher level, you can really burst through that Ember Spirit easily, especially if he's locked down by a lasso. So I just want to see, maybe what about Spectre for Geek Fam? Is that too greedy?
10 seconds remaining.
I think it is, and I think you need, not that PA really wants to be that aggressive early on, but I feel like you're going to need to aggress that, especially with this Nature's Prophet coming out as well. It's clear that they want to up the tempo right now. 3 clear damage-taking heroes right now on Boom, and they're probably going to want to save the press the attack on Legion for obviously interrupting stuns and lassos and everything else that's coming through from Geek Fam. But if you ever do get a spare moment, let's say you pick off that Bat Rider, just use it on the Lone Druid Bear and those towers melt.
Yeah, that is true. It does mean that as soon as they start getting a little bit of air to breathe, they will be able to chunk through these buildings. But I'm just trying to think of the response here from Geek Fam. Like, you can't pick these like scary hyper carries anymore because you've got Nature's Prophet that can put a lot of pressure on you. Same with the Ember Spirit, to put a lot of pressure across the map. So I'm really feeling bad here for Geek Fam. They've got a decent amount of team fight. They've got some good pick off, but they don't really have a good physical damage carry that can deal with this Lone Druid. You need something to get on top of the actual Druid to burst him down and kill him.
It's PA.
You're in this PA basket, Matt. I don't know, man. I'm a huge PA hater. Yeah, maybe Raven might have brought over some shares from the PA hater basket, but I don't know, man. I'm still not feeling it.
What else can get on top of the Lone Druid easily?
Spectre, but then Spectre gets binned, so that's the only real thing that I can think of.
You can get out of Sprout, and
Choose your hero.
King's okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well.
I just don't know if it's going to be the same type of hyper carry that it is that they need. I'm feeling a bit more strongly about Boom's draft this time around.
Yeah, you're feeling it, the Boom side. I mean, you've been correct twice already, so I feel like right now you're on that 100% hype train. So yeah, I would probably have to agree with you. This Lone Druid hero, I feel like if you get it this late in the draft, 9 times out of 10, it is very, very good for you to be in your draft. So you got to be pretty confident in having a Lone Druid this later on. And I think the Dreamer Cell should have a fairly decent game here up against Geek Fam, but we'll see what hero he's going to go up against because Cuckoo hasn't picked just yet.
5 seconds.
Okay, so it will be Cuckoo Bat.
Mid quick pain. I like that. I don't feel like it was their initial strategy, just because they obviously wanted to be able to prevent this Lone Druid from just taking over the mid lane. And so it is going to be Makoto going mid. We've seen a lot more mid profit in recent times, and you're able to push out your lane fairly well with that Wrath of Nature, which also sets up the ganks, obviously, that are going to be happening throughout the map. And of course, once you've got that duel available, you can just easily burst people down. Lots of global presence right now happening for Boom. I don't know if Geek Fam are going to be able to deal with it. I think, assuming that there's no big misplays coming through, I've got Boom reasonably comfortably this time around.
All right, so Matt's feeling like Boom is the way to go. I would have to agree. I feel like they've got a lot of lockdown. They've got good ways of scaling. Hyde's going to be playing the Ember Spirit, so he can be quite active across the map. And then this Nature's Prophet, I've seen it a million times in the mid lane, and it feels like, I don't want to say it's like impossible to deal with, but most of the time it feels insanely hard to deal with when you do see it coming across.
Are you on the hype train as well for Boom, or are you Geek Fam? Like,
hell yeah, let's go Boom. I am
of Boom, the boys from India.
I'm ready to boom. I don't know if that's a hashtag or whatever, but I'm ready to boom. Let's go with that one.
There's literally a chat line of you know what's cooking Boom, and you're like the cringe god of chat lines, and you didn't go for the one.
Well, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and this time I copped the fat L. So next time, we'll get it next time. But yeah, it really does feel like Boom have put themselves in a really good position to clean this up 2-1 and move themselves into the grand final. Dreamer Cell just walks up with his Druid. I don't know where his actual bear was. It's on the other side of the map, it looks like. So they're going to put a lot of pressure onto this outpost here. They're going to be able to clean that one. Can the bear get the outpost? I don't think it can, right?
Can pick up runes, but I
yeah.
doubt it.
To battle.
I think it just auto attacks it. I think from the 4 games that I've played of Lone Druid this patch, I feel like it just attacks it. Like the Beastmaster Boar. I know that attacks it.
trying to do its best. Imagine if you could destroy outposts, right? Like, you know what? We don't want to consider this for the rest of the game. Let's just destroy it.
Just deny your own outpost. You're like, if we don't get experience, neither do you. Well, extra experience. So
that'd be pretty. Ice Frog, hope you're not listening, but that'd be a pretty interesting thing, right? Like, if the enemy team has a much stronger Roche lineup, just destroy the outpost that's right next to it, and really, I suppose you want to be able to contest it as well. I don't know. I think it's just something interesting to consider.
Yeah, it could add like an extra layer. You know, like an extra layer to the game where it's like we have to toss up whether or not it's worth us taking care of this outpost, or should we just kick back and leave it to try and get the experience, or do we really need to get rid of this extra building to get all that map control?
What the just happened? What the
just
happened?
We got to pause.
Hotkey issues for Cook.
How do people still have hotkey? I mean, I guess I have hotkey issues too sometimes. Sometimes they just unbind themselves, I swear. Like, I'll play a hero that I haven't played in a long time, and then it'll just be like, I'm trying to cast a spell, and I'm like, my hotkeys is not working. And then I check it, and it's unbound. So, I don't know.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
It's real issues, Matt, all right? It's real issues. I'm struggling with real issues here in my Dota 2 pubs.
Dreamer Cell losing out on the range creep in that first wave. The harass from Cuckoo, it's starting to take effect. Already 4 stacks up on the Druid himself, and that's one of the things that happens when Kez Cutie has to walk back and deal with this outpost, take it back into his control.
Yep. That is true. He got the move speed creep. Yep. Kobold Foreman. I'll mate with the speed aura. 12% is actually a lot.
It's a shame they don't have the Bat Rider, because, I mean, Rider just like Sanic.
Yeah. We'll see if this lane does start to work out here for Dreamer Soul, or whether or not Cuckoo can start getting on top here with the Bat Rider.
Speaking of lanes going well, Makoto's having a great time in mid, 9-3 up against the 3-0 from Carl. So that Blightstone putting a lot of pressure on, and he's opted to go for the Gloves of Haste as well, just to get that frequent pass out onto him, causing him to expend a lot more net worth on just getting some regen for himself. I mean, he doesn't even have enough for another set of tangos.
It really does feel like every time I've seen this Nature's Prophet hero, he bins everybody. Like, actually bins every hero. He's such a strong laner and has really strong auto attacks. And he's like, if I remember this correctly, I think he's like top number 5 or number 6 highest agi gain in the game.
It's pretty nice.
Which is nuts for a hero that has a lot of damage as well, and then can get free damage from his ulti.
Back up a little bit here from the harass coming through. Zephyr, he's gone for a bit of a back lane, and can this Banisher get in range for the Purge to come off onto him? He's his best.
Yeah, he's pretty slow there is the Banisher, and he does have a swash up now, is Zephyr, so he can swash all the way away if he needs to. But this Purge is doing a decent amount of work here. Zephyr's taking a lot of damage, does get the disarm, so it's nice there that the creeps won't follow him.
He pops his healing salve. He's only got enough for the TP in another 5 mana, so try and stack this up or snipe this courier, but quite yet. Let's stuff up the creep equilibrium, though, with sitting underneath this one.
Yeah, maybe. They do have... Makoto does have his own creep, so even if it does, like, push a little too hard or whatever, he can deal with it himself.
Manipulate it. 25 gold away until that bottle's going to be available for Carl, so it just feels like he's have to be happy with soaking up some experience for now.
It does feel like Carl's on the back foot here on the Queen of Pain. Instead of to see where he makes his first rotation, whether or not he goes towards one of these side lanes to try and get a little bit more back into the game, or whether or not he's going to just try and stick it out mid so Makoto just doesn't delete his tower and then just take over his jungle.
Yep. Forced to pop the blink as well to run, so a little surprised Makoto didn't go for a bit more aggression onto him. Makoto, he's getting rotated on though.
Yep, smartly enough, gets the TP away. And once he gets all the way back to his base, he can just use his teleportation to come back in the lane, and then that's all he has to worry about.
Cuckoo? He's caught in here a little bit, but should be able to get away.
Yep, had enough there for a TP. Early on, a lot of these heroes really don't have good ways of dealing with TPs, so for now, we'll be seeing a lot of TPs in front of people's faces.
So he gets everything delivered onto him. He gives everything over to the boar. So now that his crew has been able to survive, he should be able to put a bit more pressure onto this tower. Creep wave nearly being denied underneath it as Cuckoo went to grab up that double damage rune, making sure that Nature's Prophet didn't.
Yeah, this is where it starts getting scary here for Cuckoo. If he tries to stick in this lane for a little bit too long, Dreamer Soul can get on top of him with a few lucky roots here and there. Can do a lot of work against the Bat Rider and can do a lot of damage as well. So he has to be very, very careful. Looks like we've got a fight towards the bounty route on the top Radiant side. Zephyr gets a nice little swash all the way through here on FBZ. He's getting chased down as well. Whitemon getting on top of it. Raven finally, with the boundless strike, cleans that one up. Whitemon doing the homie move and leaving that for his carry.
Very handy for himself, and so he's having an all right time down the bottom side. It's still looking a little bit rough, for, especially sitting at only 1,500 gold, 600 net worth behind his enemy offlaner, and just not feeling like he's getting the same level of impact as he would like against this lone druid, right?
Yeah, you would really like to at least get a kill on the druid. I mean, 5 minutes might be a little bit too ambitious, but you need to make sure that you're putting a lot of pressure on this druid because it's going to get to a point where he's going to get level 5, he's going to get level 6, he's going to have 3 levels in his bear form, he's going to have 3 levels in the spirit link, and even, you know, maybe he might want to go for the true form, and that's when it starts getting really hard to try and deal with this lone druid because he's going to fall back into the jungle, he's going to farm up, probably going to go for like Mask of Madness Deso build or something along those lines and just be able to do whatever he wants. Zephyr, though, swashed himself up onto a high ground here. There is a mud golem, they don't have the vision though, so he can't cancel the TP.
Again, it just feels like it's going to have to be the Raven show for Geek Fam to be able to come back into this. It's not like they've even created a ton of space with this all, right? They're trying to chase down Dreamer Soul as much as they can, but you've got the net worth advantage, you've got the XP advantage. The Cuckoo's having to play quite defensively.
Yeah, you almost got hit there by the Wrath of Nature top side, though. Ravens wanted to able to take out Hyde. They want to try and turn it back around onto the Monkey King. Does not have a boundless strike to get a nice little bit of regen. He tried to get the jump onto the tree, but it looks like Whitemon ate the tree that he was going to jump onto. So, Raven getting back away. Finally gets away from the rest of Boom.
Good on him to be able to withstand for long enough to be able to get away, not giving up his life in the process. Makoto's rotation, of course, happening at the same time. Oh, a rotation through here onto the Nature's Prophet. He might go down if he gets a bit too ambitious.
They did miss out on a few of their spells there. Fortunately, the Ignite, a little bit later than what they would like to, and Zephyr missed the Swashbuckle as well. So can't get on top of the Nature's Prophet. Carl made his way all the way over with an Invis rune. He's going to see if he can take down Hyde, though. Doing a lot of damage here. The chains does catch out onto the Queen of Pain. So Carl unfortunately loses a little bit there to RNG.
It's slowly clawing it back right now, Geek Fam. Carl recovering after it was a pretty comprehensive victory, it has to be said, by the Nature's Prophet in the lane, but now neck and neck on that net worth.
Zephyr going for a hunt. He's been a thorn in the side here for Boom. I really feel like after watching this series here between Boom and Geek, it's like just watching the way that Hyde as well as Zephyr move around the map as his position for it reminds me of times of old where you used to have like an Earth Spirit rolling around just being a nuisance to people, you know, being level 2, level 3 for majority of the game, but still getting a lot of work done on that position for it. And I really feel like Hyde as well as Zephyr channel that type of energy into whatever hero they're playing, whether it be Pangolier, Ember Spirit, or your typical pods 4s, you know.
On for a little bit of a cheeky dual play there with FBZ, but playing close enough to the tower was Raven to get the initial damage, the additional damage through from Hyde, and a bit unconventional here with Kezcute. He's already level 4.5, Hyde not yet level 3, so a lot of farm over to the hard support on Boom, and it's not the worst idea, right? You want to be able to consistently run, you want to prevent this Monkey King from carrying as it gets later on. These TPs coming through will halt that.
It looks like there's going to be a big fight here between Boom and Geek. Makoto was making his way towards top as well. FBZ takes a lot of damage for that one. They were going to try and get the duel underneath the tower with Whitemon, but that was a rotation there from Carl, so they keep him alive for a little longer. Things
going well for Geek Fam, it has to be said. not able to take full advantage of that stronger early game that they had. Dreamer Cell, he's always going to be this pressure down towards the bottom side of the map. He wants to be able to take out this tower, secure a bit more of the Ancients for themselves, make it so that Monkey King, obviously it doesn't look like he's going into a heavy farm build, just the Echo Saber to start the game.
Yeah, it seems like that is the stock standard for a lot of these Monkey Kings, especially both that we've seen today. So, just going to go for that aggressive build here. And Dreamer Cell's just starting to get his farm on right now. Heading closer and closer to that 4.5k net worth. He's moving towards that Mask of Madness. Already has phase boots on the bear, so he can start putting a little bit of pressure on when he would like to. Makoto's pushing this mid tower. They want to try and get the outpost here. FBZ cops a fire blast. They have another stun as well, so nice play there from Whitemon. And Carl. All right. Cuckoo made the rotation there with the lasso. We were able to take down Makoto. That's a big play for them.
That's a huge play for them. Being able to get all of that experience now. We can see Cuckoo, he's hit onto his level 8, so he's just going to be able to accelerate his farm even more. He's got a bottle, picks it up at the perfect time. He's going to grab this one on the bottom side as well and get closer and closer to those boots of travel.
He's going to be a speedy boy once that does come up. I really do like seeing this type of build coming out from Batriders. You know, just go for this speed build rather than rushing a Blink Dagger. Most of the time, you can get on top of a lot of these heroes. You know, maybe the Ember Spirit might be the only one you can't really deal with, but at that time, he's only in position 4 anyways, so Zephyr's not really priority number 1.
I rate this from Boom. I think it's something that they needed to do. They used the press the attack onto the siege creep, realizing that they just need to create a whole lot more pressure on this top side of the map, deny a lot away from Geek Fam, but FBZ might go down again.
Oh, FBZ. It seems to be the story of this series. Unfortunately for him, he keeps getting caught out time and time again. A big play there from Geek Fam being able to take down the Legion Commander. They take down the Tier 1 tower as well.
Axe's middle finger rises.
And bottom tower, fully healthy though on Boom's side, so they've got that going for them, but this early game continues to go as it has. You can just see FBZ. He had a decent early game like we were talking about, but now, even though Cuckoo was binned in lane against that Lone Druid, he's been able to recover, just playing a bit more passively, and I suppose that's one thing that the Legion Commander doesn't have going for him. Needs to get kills successfully in the early game to start to snowball, and we've seen it's gone the other way around.
Yeah, really feels like Cuckoo's just getting the better of these rotations. They have a lot of burst damage with Carl as well as Raven, so it's a lot easier for them to try and burst down some of these heroes. And I guess on the same vein, Boom really just need to sit and wait until their Lone Druid wants to try and fight with them. But mid lane looks like Cuckoo's going to try and get something done. Does have that flaming lasso. They want to get on top of Zephyr. Does not catch him on the bottom side though. Zephyr moves out as well. They're trying to get on top of the Ember Spirit, and they will be able to get him down. After using a decent amount, they get rid of that pesky hide Ember Spirit. And on the bottom side, Raven takes down a Tier 1 tower as well. So Geek Fam really put themselves in a good position here to take this third game.
Yeah, FBZ, he's only just hit onto his level 7. Cuckoo, he's level 9 and having a lot more happening around the map, causing them to defend. It's all that pressure around the map as well enabled the bottom tier 1 tower to go down. So now these Ancients are opened up, and you can see Carly's making the aggressive plays. They haven't had time to put down these defensive observer or sentry wards on the Radiant side.
Yeah, Dreamer Cell's just farming this Ancient camp in a nice little safe position. They're going to go on top of Dreamer Cell here. They're going to be able to burst down the Lone Druid. No, he gets the roar off and finally does get the true form off as well. So he's quite taking now, turning back around. Raven taking a lot of damage. The duel comes down. FBZ turns that one back around. Whitemon, it looked like Boom were ready for that one.
I think that's just a case of Geek Fam getting a little bit too impatient. They didn't need to wait to go in that early. Queen of Pain had Sonic Wave available in 5 seconds, so it's literally the difference of 1 or 2 seconds. That bursts down the Lone Druid. It means that those TPs probably get cancelled by Boom, and you don't lose your position 1 in the process.
Mm-hmm. That is true. The big play there from Boom. Saving Dreamer Cell, turning it back around to get 2 kills. They're able to get FBZ the dual win as well. So 10 damage going into his back pocket. So moving himself towards the Vlad's going to go into a Solar Crest on top of that as well. So not wanting to get that instant initiation. Looks like bottom side. They found out Makoto in the trees. Raven does get the sprout away, but doesn't matter because Carl picks him up there with the Scream of Pain. So even though Makoto had a much better landing stage than what Carl did, Makoto's really just not getting anything done on the map here.
Yeah, it's clear what he's trying to do. He's trying to create a whole lot more attention onto himself rather than Dreamer Cell, who's gone to a bit more of an aggressive single target build. He's gone the Mask of Madness. He's building up into the Desolator, but the Bear might be falling down here.
But
Just
half HP. Didn't want to commit all too much for it, but Geek Fam putting a lot of pressure on early here. It really does feel like they're just starting to fall behind a little bit here on Boom. As you said, Dreamercell going for that Mask of Madness, going for that Desolator build, so he's going to be very much a threat to these buildings and a lot of these heroes if they do get locked down. But at the same time, Makoto is really starting to fall a little bit behind. He's almost got his Orchid though, so I guess he's not too far behind. He's actually still ahead of Carl, so... Actually, no, Carl is 300 ahead of him. I thought Makoto was a little bit higher on the net worth there.
These lanes pushed out, wanting it to dissuade any sort of contest happening over these bounty runes, and still, even with that, they're only able to pick up 2, but I think for the stage that it's at right now, Boomer relatively okay with that. They've gone a bit more of this, again, buff up the Lone Druid style build. Helm of the Dominator now up on Kezcute, just having the chainmail as well as the headdress, so building into the mechanism. And yeah, we've seen before with the Solar Crest and the Medallion being queued up by the LC. On into this hero play for Dreamercell's Bear. Has he named it? That's the key thing. No, it's just Spirit Bear.
Feels bad, man. It's not Alfredo. Not real Alfredo. Feels bad, man. But Zephyr's going to try and do what he can. He does get the Rolling Thunder all the way through here. He doesn't stop the True Form transform, so he's going to have to be careful. He's going to start the TP out here, though, and he will be able to get away. So Zephyr being the thorn in the side here for Boom ID. He doesn't clean up the entire creep wave, so they will have creeps to come into this T2 tower. They're going to smoke up as well, so Boom's going to try and look for a kill.
I think they were in range for that for a vision when they used that smoke, so able to get away. He's already got the Firefly popped, he's got the Faded Brooch, the Boots of Travel, and the Windlace. Good luck catching 500 move speed.
Oh, that is so much damage coming out there onto Hyde. He has to throw a remnant all the way up, but he has no mana left on the other side. So they're going to be able to take down Kezcute. No, the Hand of God keeps him alive for a little bit longer. They missed the Swashbuckle, but it doesn't matter because Raven's here as well on the Monkey King. So the rest of Geek Fam are turning back around. This is a haste rune onto Carl as well. So they're going to be able to take down Hyde. He tries to use the Sleight of Fist to dodge a little bit of the damage, but it doesn't matter because Geek Fam pick up yet another 2 kills.
I think they're okay with that on Boom. It forced a heavy rotation out of Geek Fam. It means that Dreamercell is able to go down to this tier 2 tower that was completely pushed in and just start farming away. You've got the next lot of neutral items coming through as well. So going to be able to pop one of those onto his Bear. A lot more damage for him in that way. They were trying to get a bit of a stack going off there with the Chen, but traditional carry fashion, he's just like, me take creep now.
I need to hit creep, bro. Sorry. They're looking for more here.
Positioning.
Geek Fam, they know Dreamercell's around here somewhere, but they can't find him just yet. He's moved himself up and out. The rest of Geek Fam didn't get on top of him, so the Druid lives to sing another day.
They saw that TP coming out from FBZ as well because he started to channel it and then cancelled. So be able to join this next fight, and it might cause some additional aggression coming through from Geek Fam. But there's one of the first key items that are coming through side. Desolator built up. These towers are going to melt a whole lot quicker. Still 3 minutes, 20 seconds until the next glyph is available. Press the attack. Going to be used a lot more aggressively. Need to be deep.
Okay. So there was a little bit of ring around the rosy there for FBC. They did blip fall. They had the Flaming Lasso out onto Legion Commander. Going forward, they want to try and take down this Legion Commander at the start. They do. So they lose one, but they lost Zephyr on the backside as well to Dreamercell in the mid lane. Do they have a way of stopping this TP? No, they don't. Carl didn't have the Sonic Wave to commit to that one, so Whitemon gets away with his life.
Hyde eventually comes up to the top side, but sure what for. Again, we've got more TPs coming down towards this bottom area. Makoto, he's going to farm that up. He's going the BKB, so it's clear that it's just about space, space, space. We need a fight right now. We need to take these towers, and it's not a huge net worth differential, it has to be said.
That is true. It is less than 1,000 gold already, right now here between Geek Fam and Boom. Makoto is moving himself towards a BKB, so he's going to start team fighting when he wants to. But for now, I really feel like Boom needs to try and get a few more kills with their Lone Druid Bear. As you said, they've got Mask of Madness, they've got Deso. feel like they should try and smoke up and just try and collect one of these heroes, you know, maybe even just an Ogre here, which they found out Whitemon. They get the Orchid, get the Sprout on top. Makoto's just trying to get the body blocks down onto the Ogre Magi. FBZ, duel, but Carl says no.
No, I silence you.
No. No free damage for you today, sir.
Absolutely not. Drivacell, he's up onto his level 15 and he's gone the Savage Roar cooldown, basically just realizing, look, I'm the one that's going to be able to win this game for my team and I need to make sure I've got all the saves at my disposal. It's a 20-minute mark coming up, so they're going for this top outpost, making sure they take that, grab a couple of bounty runes, probably put a bit more pressure on this tower while the glyph is still disabled for the next minute 20, and then go into the Roshan, you would think. But, firstly, smoke coming up from Geek Fam. They want to make something happen now.
Yeah, Carl did jump up to the high ground there, so maybe a little preview. That's where they're going to be going. Oh, FBZ, he's just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. They're going to be able to take him down. A big flaming lasso comes down onto the lone druid. He doesn't get the roar out properly. Drumacell is going to be able to get his true form off, but I don't think it matters because he's going to die either way. Cuckoo picks that up with a double kill.
It's not good. Poor positioning. Makoto TP's down towards the bottom side of the map, but be needed to contest this Roshan. I suppose you don't really have the luxury of doing that with the lone druid not available. He's the one that's holding the majority of your net worth, and this is a free Rosh when really it should be going Boom's way. Oh no, they're going to kill him as well. Just get away.
Yeah, it seems like Makoto does just live in the fountain, so
that might be a big mistake though. Roshan, it's takeable right now from Boom. They've used a lot of cooldowns.
Yeah, they're coming back in. Hyde's on the front line as well. Now comes the Ignite, doing a lot of damage. Hand of God, keeping everybody a little bit more healthy. Hyde has to be careful. They've got Drumacell respawning as well. Not all too much HP left here onto the Roshan. FBZ is coming forward. He wants to throw out the duel onto Whitemon. Looks like he isn't able to get it here, and they do so much damage. They take down FBZ. So yeah, you might have Drumacell coming back into this, but you don't have your Legion Commander. No way of dealing with a Flaming Lasso, no way of locking down this Queen of Pain.
I don't know, you don't have the Wukongs, you don't have the Sonic Wave, and, well, Lasso, it's up in another 10 seconds, but it's still a pretty okay fight to take for Boom. I suppose feeling that they can't take it quickly enough, maybe they could wait until LC's back up online?
No, they're walking in here with a lot of creeps coming out here from Kezku. They're going to try and get these stuns out, but it doesn't matter because Zephyr's doing that Rolling Thunder all the way through. They've taken down the Chen early on here. Carl comes in with the tips as well. He's going to be able to take down another. They found out Makoto on the backside. They've got the Nature's Prophet with the Flaming Lasso. He's going to go down. That's 3 dead already. Geek Fam opening up the Roshan for themselves, opening up a net worth lead as well. Aegis will be going in the pocket of Raven, and this looks like it's starting to go from bad to worse for Boom.
Oh man, that's a disaster. They couldn't make the aggressive play because Drumacell's bear was taking so much damage. It was down to about 50% HP. He just respawned, so of course he had to resummon it, and it would have been 90 seconds without the bear, and that's not only Roshan, that's also tier 2 towers and potentially even Arax.
Yeah, it really does feel like Boom ID are really starting to lose their grip on the game. They might have only had a few fingers on the ball, but right now it feels like they're starting to slip. Going to try and get more map control here is Geek Fam. Carl's just going to push in this tier 2 tower. They're going to be able to take that down with the siege creep. They've only got a tier 2 tower left in all the other lanes, so they'll be able to spread out whenever they need to. Makoto's going to try and do what he can on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to out-execution for this game for Geek Fam. Not respecting perhaps the timings that you need to be able to take these team fights and abusing them on Boom's side. Or TP happening from Makoto. Oh, just able to get away. Lasso still having 10 seconds on that cooldown.
It would have been nice for Cuckoo to pick that up. There was a BKB for Raven that was killed on that courier, so another couple of minutes until Raven will have his BKB up now. Actually, no, it was only... Actually, was it the whole BKB? My eye is playing tricks on me. I swear it said it was the rest of the BKB.
Who's the boomer now?
I'm the boomer.
Yes. Me, I'm the boomer now.
Am I the boomer?
But yeah, we can see here, Makoto, he was kind of forced into, I don't want to say desperation, but farming anywhere that he can to try and take attention away from his team. Geek Fam have been running at Boom this entire game. Good reason. It's been working out really well for them. That's one way to lock down the lone druid is don't give him time to come online. And he's still about 600 gold away from finishing up his basher. impact in team fights. Legion Commander going again into that Solar Crest, about 1,500 or so away. And as well, this Nature's Prophet. He's picked up the BKB for himself, so that's a nice little bonus, but will it be enough to save them in this team fight? Probably not, you would think.
Oh, they found out the Chen here. Kezcute, he's going to lose his life there to Raven. BKB or not, doesn't matter. Fought. Hein did try and dodge the dagger, but unfortunately he didn't. Castle's going to go onto the high ground here, feeling quite confident with his Queen of Pain. They do get the Orchid coming out as well, the Sonic Wave, and the screens
Still
coming
going
in as well. The inside of the base. Geek fam say, we don't care where we are. We want to fight you. We want to send Boom down to the lower bracket. And that looks like that's what they're doing right now. Dreamer Cell is going to lose his life. He's going to lose his base as well. He does have buyout, but I don't think it matters. Does have his bear off cooldown as well. They're going to try and get rid of Makoto, who has to TP back into his fountain. And Geek fam, they just hit the go button and they just say, see you later, Boom.
The only thing they're able to salvage out of that fight is that the Lone Druid didn't have to buy back, but still huge losses for them. They're even going to be able to secure 3 at least out of the 4 bounty runes. A lot more timers delayed for them, even popping that first 10-second BKB. It means with the LC buying back, suddenly that Solar Crest probably not going to be a reality for the next few team fights that are coming up. And, well, you would think that Geek Fam, they probably have one more team fight that they want to take before this Aegis expires. You're probably not going to have the Monkey King Ultimate for it, but, you know, who really cares? You're able to pop it perhaps on the second life, and, yeah, they're keen to go.
Yeah, they are doing a lot of work right now.
I'm sure they've got a good idea of who's the buyback there. FBZ, he would have to be target number 1, and one that's putting himself in perhaps a little bit too aggressive of a position.
FBZ
Sonic Wave up in 2.
Still doesn't have that buyout ready.
Look at Carl, he's just said, hit me.
He's just going to blink onto the high ground. He's got his BKB. They're going to try and get rid of FBZ at the start here. Dreamer Cell's Bear's doing a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter. They've lost their Legion Commander. 80 seconds without a Legion Commander. They're going to lose the Bear on top of that. I imagine there's not going to be a resummon for a little while here. Yeah, 82 seconds until Dreamer Cell's got a Bear. And Geek Fam say, we're not going to take this anymore, Boom. We want to get this done. We want to have our foot in that grand final.
Yeah. Makoto doing exactly what he needs to do. Some Rat Dota happening. Tier 2 tower taken on the top side, but I think you're going to be able to stop this continued aggression from coming through. They've still got 20 seconds left on this Aegis, so to push it and try and force this TP back from the Nature's Prophet in the meantime.
Yeah, they're going to see what they can do here. As we said, Makoto's just trying to put what pressure he can on that top side. But Geek Fam, they're coming in. They're going to be able to take down this Tier 3 tower. They still have a little bit left here on the Aegis. So Raven's trying to be very, very careful with how much pressure he actually puts onto this Tier 3 tower. And as I say, there just does get reclaimed there by Roshan. So Raven doesn't have that second life to play with just now, but they've already taken the Tier 3 tower. Another 10 seconds until they have FBZ back up. Still a decent amount of time before they have another Bear on Dreamer Cell. So he's just pretty much sitting and waiting in the backside as this range creep that is Lone Druid without his Bear.
It's absolutely a dangerous position to be in. He's the one holding the Skull Basher right now, and it's gone from bad to worse. Even having to use the Smoke of Deceit while the creep wave is pushing into your base. Mid lane as well. Makoto's going to clean it up because, of course, he could just TP into any team fight. But all this aggressive vision, I believe the Observer Ward inside the base, the first place that you check for vision when you go for a defensive smoke like this. And you can see how they're positioned as well on Geek Fam. They're going to pop this smoke immediately as soon as they come up onto this high ground.
Yeah, well, they do get the scan there, so Boom understand that there are some heroes waiting on the high ground, but Geek Fam, they're privy to this. They want to have this fight on their terms. Hyde was poking his head out a little bit too far there, but fortunately enough, there was no fight, so
they can take a breath, rethink their strategy, but it's starting to slip away from Boom. They're going for these pickoffs. Up an Orb of Destruction, which is going to be real nice to have. Nature's Prophet's going to grab it, but for the Bear, if you're trying to go all in on one strategy, that's one way to go.
I guess he's probably just trying to keep the Vampire Fang so it can just stand and man fight. So Orb of Destruction on the other side here for Geek Fam. So these Tier 3 items are really starting to put the stamp on here for Geek Fam. Raven will have that Orb of Destruction himself, so he's going to do a lot of damage with this Deso and Orb.
Gutsy position to be in here for FBZ. Obviously not wanting your Lone Druid to die again. His resummoned bear is up in 40 seconds, but he doesn't have enough for buyback, so you can't let this lone druid die, even if it means you're not going to get enough out of the map as you're doing so.
That is true. Well, games have slowed down a little bit here for Boom. That's what they would like. They are 12,000 gold behind. They are behind by 17 kills. No. Yes, 17 kills. I questioned myself. I should never question myself. I'm the Giga Brain, the Galaxy Brain.
See about that one. We're all grouped up, ready.
Oh, there's a Craggy coat there. There's a free Craggy coat. Picked up a free Craggy coat.
Free money.
Was it his Craggy coat or was it an enemy Craggy coat?
We will see when he sends it back. He stands underneath all of these creeps.
Oh, it doesn't matter because they've called out Dreamer Cell. They don't need to worry about extra neutral items because they've got an extra hero kill. That's 60 seconds on the sideline without a lone druid, and he's dead. Same with FBZ. Kezcute walks himself in, and this seems like it's going to be game over. Geek fam finding the fight that they would like. Dreamer Cell calls it in allied chat, but Kezcute calls it in all chat, and that will be a 2-1 victory here for Geek fam up against Boom ID. They move themselves into the grand final. Boom move themselves into the lower bracket where they will await either Fnatic or Neon Esports, the winner of our next series. But Matt, that was a good turnaround from Geek fam. I'm really impressed with how they turned around for these last two games.